Hey everybody, let me show you what I got going on today over here. This is a little an HP desktop, and the problem this was having is it was not booting to the operating system. Basically not finding the operating system at all, not finding the hard drive. So I ran a HDD regen, which is a software to just take a look at the drive. So you can see here in the front it had their R basically is bad sectors, all there in the front, and I guess that's why the operating system just didn't see it at all. And aside from that, if you look at all these D's or that D there, delays, this is something that when you got a hard drive that is not technically bad, I mean it's still working, but if it has this many delays, you're gonna have, it's gonna slow down the performance, because anytime it goes to any of those areas, it just gets all bugged down. So here, the reason I tried to see if I can repair these startup sectors is the customer has some software installed that he can't reinstall. So I said I'd give it a try, see if we can get this corrected to boot up. But really, when you got a hard drive in this state, you just get another hard drive and all that. So maybe it's gonna boot up. Maybe it's not. At least we did, basically all the attempts to try to get it to boot up. Let me show you some of the other things I got going on here today. I got this desktop here. This is a custom build Fractal desktop, i7 or i9. I believe that's a 4060 or 3060. And this is just a fresh build, and was not getting video, and I took a look at it and kind of figured out already what it was. Is up there it didn't have two power connectors to the motherboard, so I'm gonna put one in there, and that should probably resolve that there. Just go around, show you a couple other things. What do I got over here? This is an Acer laptop that is a dual boot. Here it's in Windows, and we installed this has a solid state M2 and a regular hard drive. So we installed Ubuntu on the M.2 drive, so it'll be a dual boot on the two separate drives. When it boots up, it'll ask if you want to go to Windows or if you want to go to Ubuntu Linux. So that's what's going on with that. It's going to boot up. I'll come back to that. What else I got going on over here? This was a screen replacement. This is the old screen there that basically broke there on the side. So got the new screen in and loosened up the hinges. Whenever you have any of these that rip off, basically they get loose off of the back LCD panel. Usually what happens there is that the hinges over the course of time, they get really, they kind of get hard. They start getting kind of stuck. And the more pressure they have on those hinges, eventually the hinge rips off of the back LCD. So in this case, it was kind of separating. It wasn't completely blown. And it looks like they had put some super glue. Let me show you the boot up on this over here. I think it's booting up. It's coming, yeah. So the restart, you see there you have Ubuntu and then the Windows Boot Manager, and it's going to go into Ubuntu if I don't do anything in 3, 2, 1 second. So that's going to go into Ubuntu 22 LTS. You can see there. So going back to these hinges, I mean, I changed the screen, but there was, the hinges were so tight, I wind up taking the hinges out and loosening them up a little bit. Usually when you take those out, I mean, almost all of them. Some of them won't have an adjustment, but I don't know, 9 out of 10 are gonna have a nut on one side that you could loosen up. These have like dual, because this is that hinge that goes 360, so they have like two nuts, and it's not even a full turn, it's like a quarter turn. You'll see the idea, if you're going to do this, is when you take it out, feel how hard it is, and then just give it barely a quarter turn, and it's still got to be hard. And the challenge is until you get the hang of it. If you make it too soft, the LCD will just flop over. So it does take some trial and error, right? So that you can see now this is way softer than before, so it doesn't put any pressure, but it has to be firm enough that, you know, it doesn't just flop over there. But yeah, that's one of the things you want to do if you had that kind of situation there. Even if you change the back cover and you still got those hinges that are too hard, loosen them up, because if not, 6 months down the line, that thing's gonna rip as well. And what else do I got? I got another one over here. This one is going to be a bad motherboard. This was a backup, and customer said it was blue screening, and he showed me you know, some pictures of the blue screen crack in here. I mean, the first time I booted it up, it cranked up. I went to do a RAM test because I figured, based on the story he had told me, check the RAM. The RAM is on the board soldered. So I went in to do the RAM test, and when I came back to look at it, it was just black, you know, black screen, no image. And then after that, arbitrarily, LCD comes up, then it doesn't come up. So here, I'm not able to determine, you know, I'm able to determine it's the board, but whether it's the RAM on the board or something else, who knows? Probably, I think it might be a RAM issue on there. If you let it sit, you know, for a few hours and, you know, try booting it up again, it does kind of boot up, but it doesn't get all the way to the operating system. It'll give you the post Lenovo screen, and then after that it just goes black. So that's going to be a bad board on that. So that's what I got going on, amongst other things out there. That's what's going on right here, right now, my PC911.